Yeah, so firstly, this meeting will be recorded and also live streamed. And please be respectful towards each other at all times. Please use the raise hand function if you have any questions or if you wish to speak during the meeting. And please remember to keep yourself muted unless you are asked to speak. Next slide, please. Next slide. Yeah, so we have received apologies from Hassan. And yeah, next slide. So I am Ayush Jain. I'm a third year business management student. And yeah, hopefully the last meeting, chairing the last meeting. Yeah. Uh, Next slide. So like the minutes of the previous meeting have been uploaded on the website. And if members are happy to approve, then we'll move on to the next section. Does anyone have any questions or comments? We consider it as approved. Yeah. So we have not received any updates or minutes from the last meeting. So we'll move on to the next section. So now like it's time for executive officers updates and like who will wish to go on first?
I'll go first. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Great. I've been on annual leave for a bit since the last student council, so a little bit a less update this time. But since being back, I presented the women's space data to various university meeting boards. Just before I left, we ran an open iftar with Student Life. I've continued to lobby for self-funded students. So I'm working with the finance team in the university to see what can be done to support those students. We're preparing resources, but also lobbying for the removal of late fees. Continuing to work with key university members on partnering QMUL with higher education scholarships for Palestinians. So it's been taken to certain boards that I sit on. Currently planning summer study well, so a campaign to support student mental health during exam season. I'm looking at the graduate outcome gap of Bangladeshi women, and we're looking into engaging alumni to see what causes such a gap. So looking to host some focus groups soon, and also next week or at the end of this week. So from Thursday is the first anti-apartheid week, which is the final liberation week of the year. So there are various events that Rahma has been planning, but I also will be hosting a book club on Thursday the 17th, I think. Yeah, Thursday 17th. So it'll be great to see some of you there. Yeah, that's it for me. Thank you. Any questions? Let me know.
Thank you, Navia. Who would like to go next?
Yeah, I'm happy to go next. Yeah, so just some updates on what I've been working on since the last student council. The first one is a event that I'm doing in collaboration with Ihsan Consulting. Just to give a brief summary of the event, it's going to be a mastermind session followed up by a case study competition. We're going to be we've confirmed industry professionals from Accenture, EY, and Oakland Consulting who are going to come and be judges on the panel. This is going to link with my Students Who Work project, as one of the prime findings within the project was that students were they were unaware of where they could find opportunities which could practically help them in regards to experience. So with this event, we aim to highlight it as a key examples of how students can find that sort of experience first of all, within the university. We'll be also bringing some QM alumni who will also be a part of the panel and interviewing them in order to give feedback on the event, as well as get their thoughts on the opportunities existing within the universities and how students can overall take advantage of them. The second thing I wanted to update on was on Islamophobia. So just some updates on what's being done in relation to Islamophobia. Firstly, in regards to work that's being done on one of the motions, which was passed at student council some time ago, on implementing a training on Islamophobia to the university as well as the Students' Union. I've been working alongside VP Bartz Rahma, as well as University member Alex Pressard, who's the Associate Director of Culture and Inclusion, and we've received a lot of we have a lot of good news. Firstly, that we've been able to feedback on a big piece of work which is being done in the university, which is a update training on one of the mandatory training programs called Introducing Inclusion, and we'll be able to include scenarios which we are currently creating with Alex Presage of examples of Islamophobia within the context of higher education. These scenarios give us examples. They show different perspectives from students to staff on how Islamophobia manifests in different forms. And yeah, overall, we hope that we can continue on the good work. We are also currently lobbying the university. Alex Presage has been helping us in assisting us getting to the VP of Policy and Strategic Partnerships with an aim to create a subgroup within the wider EDI group in the university, which will be solely on embedding a definition of Islamophobia, which is the motion which we passed at the last student council. And this work has also similarly be done in the University of Salford. And a side point also on Islamophobia, work related to Islamophobia, is that we will be hiring an independent advisor at the SU who will be advising on all the work that I've basically mentioned so far, definition training. And yeah, that's all from me. Happy to take any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Giovanni. Who would like to go next?
I'll go next. Hi, everyone. So since the last student council, I've been working on different areas of my different projects. So I ran my internships project on implementing a new internship scheme in the Faculty of Science and Engineering. I'm working with the development and alumni team to draft a funding proposal to send out externally to external companies to request funding to be able to fund the internships for financially disadvantaged students. And I've met with the bursaries team about using about having the bursary holders be the eligibility criteria for the internships. On my project around assessments, I'm working with I've reached out to academics to gather historical assessment and engagement data in certain modules to compare how assessment changes and weighting changes have impacted engagement in the past to help guide to help guide going forward how assessments and weightings can be adjusted in line with the aims of the project to reduce stress and things while retaining engagement on the university side. And I'm working with some of the senior university stakeholders on that as well. I've been working with Giovanni on the students who work data. So we completed analyzing the data, and I've presented to some of the directors of education in science and engineering, and Giovanni and I will be presenting to more academics, such as other faculties, directors of education, and program directors in a couple of weeks on the students who work data. When I presented a few weeks ago, there were quite a lot of constructive discussions around that. A lot of the directors of education appreciated the data that came out of that, and there were some discussions about how to mitigate the stress and some of the workload that might impact students, or the time clashes that might impact students. And Giovanni and I would be looking to go forward and try to have more of those discussions with the university. Similarly, on the advisor scheme, I've been working with Nabiha on that. I presented on that data to the directors of education, science and engineering as well. And there were similar discussions around the data. Directors of education appreciated the data we got from those focus groups. And so there were some discussions about how to communicate more effectively some of the stuff that advisors do, how to make it more consistent across different schools. And there were things about that. So Nabiha and I were looking to go forward and have more discussions like that with the university. But that's it from me. Happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Alavi. Over to you, Tamir.
Great, thank you. Hello everyone. Hope everyone's been well since the last student council meeting, and for those of you who are fasting this Ramadan, Eid Mubarak. Since we last met, I've been continuing to work on projects and engage with students and staff from across the university and the Students' Union. And as you've seen, as have the executive officers and teams within the union. As always, I'm going to highlight some key points and areas of work that I've been engaged with over the past few weeks. So to begin with, number one, at the end of March, I met with the Chief Governance Officer of the university to discuss concerns that I'd raised in the last University Council in November, following on from the attack on the executive officer team in November. I gave quite a long update at that University Council to warrant the actions that I'll outline that were secured. I won't repeat all of it due to time, but I wanted to share part of it with you today at Student Council, as I know many of you have asked about this topic and about what I admit for me and for the executive office team has been a personally difficult topic to contend with during this term as sabbatical officer. At University Council, after the incident, I said that it is often felt by students and sabbatical officers alike that that issues of racism and faith discrimination are not dealt with as much importance compared to other hate crimes. And in particular, that issues of Islamophobia and acts of racism towards Muslims are not dealt with seriously or able to be considered in their own right. I said that this is important and relevant to council because this affects how sabbatical officers engage with working at the university, and it affects how able we feel to voice student concerns at all levels of discussion, including in core governance spaces. I said that if it's allowed for personal prejudices to construct arbitrary barriers that prevent the ability for there to be effective governance, then it must be concluded that as council and that as individual members of that university council, there will have been a collective failure to ensure that there is effective governance. I then went on to say that our personal identity as executive officers does not diminish our professional ability, and that rather it has enhanced it, it enhances it, and that it allows us to represent the students, you guys, and the institution that we love more effectively. This last part I know is true for all of you in your capacities as part-time officers. And I hope that this, along with my following updates, provides some insight into the work and conversations that have been taking place over the past few months. It was agreed in University Council, as mentioned, that the Chief Governance Officer at the university and myself would meet to discuss the incident that occurred in relation to the executive officers and it's the handling of that incident more broadly ahead of the next University Council, which took place at the end of March. In that meeting, we agreed some actions which were then presented to University Council, and then University Council, which is the highest governing body of the university, approved the following actions. Number one, in relation to joint communications between the university and the Students' Union, we've agreed on the importance of improving joint communications on significant student issues. The Good Campus Relations Group, which some of you may have heard of, has been working towards this, and we are in fact hoping to release communications later this week about some of the work that has been going on in relation to these issues. And we believe a joint learning exercise on why we didn't manage to reach an agreement on this occasion will help us improve in future efforts. Joint communication have historically been something difficult for executive officer teams along with the university. And so I'm hoping that this action will improve things for future generations of executive officers. In relation, number two, in relation to support for university members who are targeted by abuse, we identified an opportunity to formalize support for individuals who are targeted on campus. And we're considering implementing a written protocol and providing clear guidance to those affected by hate incidents that do happen, along with a personal safety risk assessment template to ensure expectations are well defined for both individuals and those supporting them. And to summarize what that really means, it's essentially staff members working at the SU and at the university should be better supported in future, hopefully, when it comes to incidents such as these. And number 3, in relation to training for key roles within the university, and that covers topics such as hate crime training and anti-discrimination training. The Good Campus Relations Group has been discussing general training needs. That's something that the other VPs have been working towards, that Giovanni alluded to as well in his update earlier. Specifically, this action that was agreed, so moving forwards, the aim is to focus specifically in terms of council is to specifically focus on the training requirements for individuals in key roles, such as external members on university council, and staff members in the university senior executive team. So that includes members such as the president and principal of the university, the chief operating officer, the chief governance officer, the various the VP education, and so on and so forth. And that will carefully consider the dynamics that we want to cultivate in formal meetings, which essentially means that we're hoping we can create a friendly environment for executive officers to operate within when they're working with the university. These actions will be overseen by University Council, and there will be clear accountability for them. I hope that these actions will help improve the working environment, for all future SU executive officers and staff working for the SU or the university. And I hope that this update will provide some clarity to you all. There is, of course, more specific work going on around Islamophobia within the Students' Union and between the university and the Students' Union. And this you will have heard from Giovanni in his updates earlier. If you need support with or affected by any of the themes raised in this update, then please do reach out to the advice and counseling team at the university for further support. My second update, a different topic entirely. I've successfully secured approximately £150,000 from the university for the Student Union Lounge, formerly known as the Drapers Lounge. This money will be used to scope out work that needs to be done to complete the remaining phases of the renovation of the SU Lounge, which includes knocking down a large section of the wall next to the Union shop, which will mean that we can install floor-to-ceiling windows to really open up the space and bring in a lot of light. Many of you will have attended the Liberation Awards or the Results Night and various other events throughout the year, and will have seen that first phase of renovations is done, and that alone has transformed that space into a much more friendlier space. We also aim to create a pathway between the Union Shop and the SU Lounge to improve flow between the SU commercial spaces in Godwood Square, amongst many other things, which I don't have the time to go into in depth today, but it opens up the pathway for future cash as well for the remaining phases of that renovation plan. And my final update is that I've been meeting with the Director of Estates, Facilities and Capital Projects, as well as the Director for Student Experience, to discuss Sticky Campus, which I know is something that you've all been interested in, and to resolve the funding and strategic planning issues. We agreed that we would look to set up a new Student Campus Experience working group that would replace Sticky Campus, and that every third one of these working groups would be a strategy group. And so these meetings would take place about a monthly or 6 weekly. This should mean that infrastructure issues that have been raised by executive officers or students in the past, such as having larger multi-faith rooms or faith-specific prayer rooms, such as Muslim prayer rooms or Dharmic prayer rooms, improved bathroom facilities, such as gender-neutral toilets or bidet facilities, and lighting or various other safety initiatives or cost of living initiatives can be embedded into the university's estates master plans more easily. These are plans that usually go on for decades, and hopefully that will give students a stronger voice in shaping our campuses for years to come. I'm hoping that we'll be able to secure a £10,000 a month budget for smaller campus improvement ideas too, to help ensure that there's an effective mix between short-term and long-term projects being worked on. And I'll give an update about whether we've managed to secure that in future groups, probably not Student Council, as this is the last one of the year, but I'll be sure to provide that update to PTOs. There's a bunch of other things I've been working on, but I hope this provides a good outline of my work, and I'm happy to take questions now or later. Thanks, Ayush.
Thank you, Taman. We'll straight away move on to the motions because like some students have to leave. So like if you have any questions, you can ask it towards the end. So like there are two motions to debate. I will call on the proposers to speak about the motions for 2 or 3 minutes. Invite any questions to the proposer and then ask if anyone wishes to speak against the motion. If they do, then they'll also have 2 to 3 minutes to speak. We'll repeat this process until it's time to put the motion to a vote. Is that clear to everyone? Okay, so like the votes will be online, and just a reminder that only members of student council may take part in the vote. Moving on to the first motion. So the first motion is should the Students' Union introduce a Christian Gospel Week? It's proposed by Matil and it's seconded by Sarah. So like, would you like to unmute yourself, Matil?
Hi, yes, I'm Mathilde.
Hi.
Yeah, Sarah. So the motion we're putting forward is to introduce a Christian Gospel Week to basically represent the student population of Queen Mary's Well and hopefully represent Christians on campus and also just raise awareness for Christian beliefs and celebrations and just share those with people of all faiths on campus. So we would like to put forward this motion, which would mean that we'd have a week dedicated to raising awareness about this, having some student spotlights, potentially student interviews or socials takeovers, and just having something that the SU can promote. And I'll just hand over to Koyin to tell us a bit about why.
So the reason we want this is because we know that there's large proportion of students on campus that are Christian, and they're from a range of cultures, backgrounds, and experiences. And so we really would just like the SU to represent more of the cohort of students who are from a Christian background. And we believe it's more so from a like an equal opportunity standpoint, as many other beliefs of groups have a heritage or awareness week. So it's kind of just like having the representation and the opportunity to do this in the same way that other groups do.
And we believe that this would have an impact for students on campus to represent the Christians on campus well. And as Coyne has said, there is a diverse body of Christian students on campus, which is seen by the kind of members of the Barts and the Queen Mary's Christian Unions. And we want to be able to show that diversity yet unity by being able to share those Christian beliefs. And also there's just a need for awareness. For example, there's sort of not really been as much kind of messages from the SU about things like Lent or Advent, which are significant periods for Christians. And it was only last year that we introduced having the Easter spotlight. So we just felt that this will have a big impact on being able to share that with all the students on campus and being able to have that representation so that Christian students also feel like the student union and the university is representative of them.
And yeah, that's mostly it, just to sort of second that a bit further. Representation is the main thing, and we just believe it will be impactful to ensure equal inclusion. It will help to promote diversity and just increase more awareness of the beliefs that a lot of students hold at the university. Thank you.
Thank you to both of you. Like, does anyone have any questions for them? Or is there anyone who wants to oppose this motion?
I have a question.
Go on.
Hi, Matil. Hi, Sarah. Thank you so much for presenting this important motion. I just wanted to ask, so would this be a centralized week, both at Milan campus and BOTS? And who would take the lead on it?
Yeah, so our hope for it is that it would be centralized, really just have that unity and that consistency on both campuses. So we're hoping that it would be something that both that we'd be able to promote on both Queen Mary and Barts campuses, and that any sort of awareness or posts or events would be joint so that students of Barts and Queen Mary's would be able to come together on those ideas.
Okay, sounds wonderful. Thank you.
Does anyone else want to speak against the motion? If not, then we'll straight away go to the voting. Thank you for voting. So we'll end the poll now. And yeah, we can clearly see like 72% people are in favor. So this motion is passed. Moving on to the next motion, like should the union implement self-defense classes at Queen Mary at Q motion using external trained professionals? So this motion is proposed by Senate and it's seconded by the like Senate, would you like to speak about
Yeah,
this?
can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm not part of the student council, but my name is Sened. I work for QMotion as a QMotion receptionist, but I'm also a Queen Mary student ambassador. So I am very well aware of the QM community. So yes, I propose that the students union should implement self-defense classes at Queen Mary, ideally at QMotion, because that is the fitness facilities we have on campus, using external professionals, right? And the reasoning behind this is because like based on statistics, like 8 out of 10 students in the UK feel very unsafe outside school. And given that, yes, Queen Mary is the only major university in London that has a campus, and you can say it's a bit more protected, but it's more than just having campus security, because campus security is great, but it's what happens outside once they do leave campus. And self-defense is essentially, it's not just about winning the fight against someone that's more stronger than you, bigger than you, taller than you, but it's about not losing out of fear. And so Queen Mary is, as we know, the most diverse social group university. It is leading in social mobility, but on the other hand, it's like on the other side of things, it has one of the highest like it is a very women-dominated university, and it's located in one of the most deprived boroughs in London. So this just makes it a very pressing need to implement self-defense classes and initiatives. Another thing is so the QMSU has implemented self-defense initiatives in the past. So, and it has received positive engagement to my knowledge. So I feel like it deserves to be implemented again and like not as a one-off initiative, but rather as a one that continues. And to kind of just like make it a bit more practical, it could be implemented around 6 weeks per semester. Like there are some other initiatives like the Black Women's Therapeutic Group that is held by the SU, and it's not held for the full year, but like certain weeks across both semesters, which makes it a lot more practical. We're using QMotion space, so we're not really expending a lot of money. And also there are external trained professionals that constantly go around and like essentially like train schools and corporate people and educational institutes like self-defense classes, so we don't really have to like rely on our own expertise for that, right? Some organizations such as SOAR with Us, I'm more than happy to share more details on this organization later on. It was actually proposed by one Queen Mary alumni, so I am speaking on behalf of that Queen Mary alumni. And another thing is, as I like going back, Queen Mary has a lot of like international students and also students that are not from London, which come from significantly safer places than London. And it's important, and we owe it to them to just like teach them how to protect themselves outside campus. Now, I get that there's a physical fitness element of it, and it's great, and I fully back it as a QMotion staff member. But also, it's more than that, because then we're also tackling the mental element of it, where we're teaching people to just be confident and not be as fearful. Now, finally, in return for our SU, what this does is it increases student engagement. So QMSU is one of the best SUs in London because it's known to be revolutionary. It's known to implement new things that most universities do not implement. So adding this element would really address a lot of gaps. Number two, it makes a visibly safer campus. As I already mentioned, QM campus is already really safe with security, but it's what happens outside the campus that I'm really concerned about. And it could also allow us to get reports about reduced harassment or fear, because there's a lot of stats. So I feel like we could genuinely just see that impact be made in our community. And finally, it would put QMSU at a position where it doesn't only lead in entertainment and education, but also in empowerment and the fulfillment of its students. So I definitely think it needs to be implemented, because self-defense is not just a luxury, but a necessity. Thank you so much.
Shirin, please unmute yourself.
Okay, so is this firstly, is this a free week, or free other classes free? Secondly, how is this different to existing self-defense and other societies like Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Taekwondo, etc.?
Thank you so much for the question, Shireen. So as I mentioned, as a QMotion receptionist, I'm very well aware that we have Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, different societies that do tackle these self-defense practices. However, you have to understand these societies come from an offensive position, in the sense that they're there to train in order to compete, in order to win medals, which again takes us back to that physical element, fitness of it, right? But the thing I'm suggesting with self-defense initiatives is more from what would help students to defend themselves, to empower them, to just build their confidence, right? So yeah, it does serve the same purpose, but also just added the added value, because these Muay Thai societies and Jiu-Jitsu societies, they don't do it for self-defense. They use their bodies. And in regards to it being free or not, I mean, it would depend on the SU's budget and financial situation. I'm not one to speak about it, but I'm sure we could find a solution, because it has been implemented before. I'm not sure how it was implemented before, but I'm sure we can find a common ground. And I do know some contacts who are trained professionals and do give self-defense classes to our trained professionals, so we could implement it through that. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. I've seen a lot of societies that have run self-defense classes, like Women in Healthcare and other women's societies. I was just trying to figure out how this is different from what's going on already, because there are free and other things that are going on. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, this is okay. Can I pitch in for a minute? A second there.
Yeah, sure.
Hi Sharon, thank you so much for all your input. So I fully understand what you're talking about, it being how it will be different. So our women's reps and some of our welfare reps have organized one-off self-defense classes, and it's had a good turnout, which shows demonstrated interest and popularity among students, and the need for such classes to be more regular and effectively integrated into QMotion's training schedules. So the whole point of this motion is to make this more regular, and as a professional class organized by QMotion and offered to its students regularly, just like some of the currently existing classes. I hope this answers your questions. If not, we're happy to take more.
I can't seem to raise my hand, but could I ask a question? I was just wondering, for trans and non-binary people, because is this women's only, or would this be open to everyone?
This would be open to everyone. 100%. I mean, like the whole point of it is to create as inclusive of a community. So it would be a bit counterproductive if we segregated and discriminated people. So it would be open to everyone. Shireen?
Is again, I'm trying to figure out if this would be better as a society kind of thing, because Taekwondo is self-defense. As you said, the other societies would be more offensive. So is there a, if this doesn't go through, there's that alternative of making it a society kind of thing?
I completely get where you're coming from,
It's just a suggestion to think about it if it doesn't go through. Sorry, you don't have to. It's not a.
No, I know. I completely agree with with where you're coming from, but we can say the same thing about Muay Thai being self-defense, MMA and jiu-jitsu and different like martial arts activities that are like currently held on our campuses. But again, these societies have a pure purpose of I believe they operate under bucks where they are training, and I've seen them and I've seen these people train, and they're training for a specific competition, and they're doing it to like as a hobby rather than like as a protective measure. 100% has the added value of a protective measure, but it just wouldn't work as a society unless our SU makes people safe to do so. Because personally, I've been at pre-Mary for 3 years. I'm in my final year right now. I've always been intimidated to join the Jiu-Jitsu Society, Taekwondo Society, and Muay Thai Society because I know I'd be surrounded with people who've been experienced for years. I'd be I'd just be terrified. And Dia's, I believe, black belt in Muay Thai. Dia, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. So she could also offer her input onto this. But yeah, having it separate from society is preferable, and it would yield a lot of engagement.
Hi, Sharon. Yes, so I think making it independent from a society would be preferable. Although I fully understand the arguments about how it can also be implemented as a part of the society, because when you have to go to society sessions, you usually have to pay a big membership fee, which is usually quite expensive. But with a lot of QMotion offerings, you'd only have to pay like a one-off fees or a subsidized amount for each session. And even regarding schedule, so they would have the option to choose from either going into a particular self-defense sport or just general self-defense classes offered by QMotion. Hope this makes sense. Thank you.
Does anyone else want to speak against the motion, or else we'll straight away move on to the voting? Asya, do you have any questions?
Yes, yes, the classes. So whether it would be paid or not, as Senate said, is something for the SU to decide. But even if it would be paid, it would be much more subsidized, just like the Get Active sessions, which are like £2 per session, and you can choose any times and dates that are convenient for you. So it wouldn't be a big commitment, and you can commit as you like. So the prices would still be subsidized.
Asya, can you please mute yourself? So we'll now straight away go to the voting because we are on the verge of getting in quorum. Please vote if you haven't already voted. We'll close the poll in 10 seconds. One last chance for members to vote because like there are a lot of people who haven't voted yet. So now we'll end the poll and here are the results. Yeah. So 79% of people are in favor of the motion. So this motion is approved. So there are no policy renewals to look at in this for this meeting. And so like, does anyone else have any question for the executive officers or anything that you have to ask anyone? This brings us to the end of the meeting. So firstly, thank you everyone for attending each and every meeting. And yeah, I wish you all the best for your future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's 109.
All right.
Hi, Hayley.
Hi.
That was a bit of a mess. We just about got over the line, but that was not the best way to end student council, but I can see why we're doing it.
Yeah. I think I've got all the attendance.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Sound muted.
Oh no, it's okay. I think I have all of the attendance. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't broken it out by who is.
Don't worry too much. I had a go at sort of during it at scribbling down who I could see as well. So I think between us, we've probably got a decent list. We may have become in quorum just before we took the vote because people kept talking, but
yeah,
I'm not bothered about that because if nobody asked us to count the quorum, then it's still fine. So I think it's
exactly.
Haley, for
thank you
throughout the year and helping me.
Yeah, absolutely. Very well done.
Thank you.
I will see you guys tomorrow.
Yes, see you tomorrow. Cheers, Hayley. Bye.
Bye.